Rural America, with its vast fields, sprawling forests, and close-knit communities, has long been woven into the fabric of the nation's identity. Yet, behind the nostalgic images of small towns and family farms lies a sobering reality. Rural America is falling behind, and the reasons go far beyond the surface-level explanations often given. To truly understand the roots of this decline, we must look deeper into the changing structures of the economy, shifts in public policy, technological advancements, and the evolving fabric of rural life itself. For much of American history, rural communities thrived as essential engines of agriculture, manufacturing, and resource extraction. Regulations ensured that even the smallest towns had access to vital services, reliable transportation networks, community banks, hospitals, and schools. These pillars supported local economies and provided residents with opportunities to build lives, raise families, and contribute to the broader prosperity of the nation. But as the 20th century drew to a close, a wave of deregulation and policy shifts began to reshape the rural landscape. Regulations that once mandated the equitable distribution of services were rolled back in the name of efficiency and free market competition. Rail lines that carried goods and people across the countryside were cut back or abandoned, leaving many communities isolated. Local banks, once anchors of Main Street economies, were shuttered or absorbed by distant conglomerates, making it harder for small businesses and farmers to access capital. The withdrawal of these essential services set off a domino effect. Without affordable, reliable transportation, the cost of moving goods rose, squeezing already thin margins for small businesses and farms. As banks and other financial services pulled out, entrepreneurs found it increasingly difficult to start or sustain local ventures. Economic opportunities dwindled, and the tax bases that funded schools and public services shrank. This decline wasn't just economic. It reverberated through the very heart of rural communities. As job prospects faded, so did hope. Opioid addiction took root, fueled by despair and a lack of access to health care. Mortality rates from chronic diseases and accidental injuries climbed, in part because an estimated 30 million Americans now live more than an hour from the nearest hospital with trauma care. The shortage of primary care doctors in rural areas only deepened these disparities, making it harder for people to get the preventive care they needed. In the agricultural sector, the challenges became even more acute. Small family farms, once the bedrock of rural America, found themselves squeezed by falling commodity prices, unpredictable weather, and the rising costs of everything from seeds to machinery. Trade wars and shifting global markets added to the uncertainty. Meanwhile, technological advancements favored large-scale operations, those with the capital to invest in state-of-the-art equipment and data-driven farming techniques. The result was a consolidation of farmland into ever larger holdings, pushing small farmers out and eroding the rural way of life. The social fabric of rural America began to fray. Young people, recognizing the limited opportunities at home, left in search of education and careers in urban centers. This brain drain depleted communities of their most talented and energetic members, making it even harder to attract new businesses or revitalize local institutions. Those who remained faced shrinking schools, overburdened healthcare systems, and fewer cultural or recreational opportunities. The challenges facing rural America are not the result of a single misstep, but of decades of policy decisions and economic trends that have systematically undermined the foundations of rural prosperity. Deregulation, while intended to spur innovation and reduce costs, often left rural areas behind as companies focused on serving larger, more profitable urban markets. The shift toward industrial-scale agriculture and globalized supply chains marginalized small producers and left local economies vulnerable to forces far beyond their control. Healthcare, too, has suffered from these shifts. As hospitals closed and doctors left for cities, rural residents found themselves on the wrong side of a growing health divide. Preventable diseases went untreated, mental health services became scarce, and emergency care was increasingly out of reach. The consequences have been devastating. Higher rates of chronic illness, addiction, and premature death, Yet, amid these challenges, rural America is not without hope. Many are working tirelessly to reverse these trends, revitalizing local economies, investing in new forms of agriculture, and advocating for policy changes that recognize the unique needs of rural communities. Expanding broadband access, for example, can open new doors for education, healthcare, and entrepreneurship. Innovative rural healthcare models, such as telemedicine and mobile clinics, can bridge some of the gaps left by hospital closures. But to truly address the real reasons rural America is falling behind, a comprehensive approach is needed. Policymakers must recognize that rural decline is not inevitable. With targeted investment in infrastructure, roads, internet, public transportation, rural communities can be reconnected to the broader economy, making it easier for businesses to thrive and for residents to access essential services. Support for small-scale agriculture is also crucial. This means not just helping farmers weather economic storms, but also encouraging sustainable practices, fostering local food systems, and promoting agricultural innovation that benefits communities, not just corporations. Revitalizing local banks and credit unions can provide the capital needed for small businesses and farms to grow and prosper. Most importantly, closing the gap between rural and urban America requires a renewed commitment to equity. This means ensuring that healthcare, education, and economic opportunity are not privileges reserved for those in cities, but rights shared by all Americans. It means listening to the voices of rural residents, valuing their experience, understanding their needs, and involving them in the decisions that shape their future. Rural America's struggles are not just rural America's problem. They are a challenge to the nation as a whole. The health of small towns and farming communities is inextricably linked to the health of the country economically, socially, and culturally. By confronting the real reasons behind rural decline and investing in solutions that honor the unique strengths of rural life, we can ensure that the promise of America remains within reach for everyone, no matter where they call home.